All right, welcome. This is the beginning of a series of clips of videos of Joe Bob's guitar. That's me. Unfortunately, I put a song on YouTube that won't allow me to use it. So you won't be able to hear that great music, but here's a different background. This is part of the Taco Tapes, lazysummerhomeband.com. This is the band, and we're gonna build our bass player, Joe Bob, a bass. That's me in my garage, talking about the steps and the processes. We're completely customizing a surprise bass for our bass player. Really, really good stuff. I used all really good quality parts, which we'll get into later. But also, I just want to share this video. And so even though you can hear my beautiful voice for the original video, this is a sample. All right, here we go. This is what we've got here. The Warmoth, I believe it's G5 bass. I got slots for the humbuckers I wanted to use. We'll talk about that later. This is one single piece of swamp ash. Real porous, so there's gonna be a lot of sanding to do, but we also are gonna have to fill that grain. I wanted to go with the hip shot. I actually had to order this piece a couple of times now because I hadn't gotten the perfect sizing. The first one, it didn't fit. The second one was a little too large. So I had to do the measurements and get down to it and do it right. Biggest thing for me was to get this done and take my time, make a solid bass for Joe Bob. But the big thing here is it's a string through bass. And so you put the strings through the guitar for solid resonance. Like I said, it's going to be one solid piece of wood and then one solid neck. This is the neck. It's made out of Wenge wood, which is an African wood. The very top here is Rosewood. I did steel high, I guess it's tall and narrow frets. Steel just because it'll last longer than the nickel. Nickel will divot a little sooner. But you can see it's a beautiful piece of wood. Really, really nice. Feels solid. You can even see this is a little porous, but it is a thick, dense piece of wood. Really stoked for this neck. Really, really excited. It's gorgeous. I considered trying to stain it black, but I think it's a work of art, so I don't want to mess with that. Pickup wise, we went with EMG pickups. These are humbuckers. It said Mike Gordon, Les Claypool. There's a list of really great players that play this. So I got two of these. And they actually came with a full system, a solderless wiring system. So they'll be easy to work on. Then here's all the hardware. It's an active pickup, so I had to get the pickup, the piece for the battery. Had to get the neck. We're building this from scratch, so we had to get all these actual parts. I want to get locking tuners. Joe Bob's guitar, the one he's playing now, had a couple of spills, so I just want to make sure that does not happen with this one. EMG was also gracious enough to send us some tone knobs, and they even have that EMG symbol on them. But the first thing I'm going to be doing is sanding, starting out with a 220 grit, just to get everything even and level. From there, I would jump in with the grain filler, just add a little bit of water to this ebony grain filler because I want to get a dark and deep in the wood grain. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. You can see how all those little holes there, that's what the grain filler is for. So we're going to fill this sucker up and sand it again. We're going to fill it, sand it, sand it, and go to the 320. And then possibly after that 320 and the color tone, go to the 400. Really lightly, but I just want to make sure it's even. And it's even been suggested to go with a wet, dry sandpaper. I'm going to kind of play it by ear on how I do this. But I've also got my stain, and I've got a sanding sealer. They say with a more porous wood, using the wet and dry, going back to the sanding sealer, using the wet and dry, is just going to make the finish look more beautiful. I also plan on staining this with an ebony stain. I don't want it to go too dark. I want to see the wood. So here we go. First step. I'm going to get down and do some 220 grit sanding before I do my sanding sealer. I'm stoked. I've been working on collecting all these things over a couple months. Warmoth takes about 7 to 10 weeks, give or take, on custom orders. So just to give you that heads up. I'm kind of nervous. I don't want to start. I mean, I do, but it's going to do it all. I want to do all hand sanding. There's a lot of curves on here, and I'm a novice. I didn't want to use power tool because if I go too deep or if I nick an edge or any of that, I want it to be slow, grinding. Got to soak this music up into this body. So with that, I will let you go. One more look before I fuck it up. Boom. There she is, baby. All right, you know, it's actually going pretty well. Just doing a nice light sanding by hand. The whole guitar is pretty much ready, but just to get it nice and even through the whole way, I think it'll be really good. Did the edges, nice long strides. I use this little guy with my 220. So I'm gonna do a little more research, maybe do one more sanding of the whole body, and then I'm gonna go for the filler. I want it to be stained black. I wanted to show the wood because it's gorgeous. And it's, like I said, it's one piece, no laminates. And my idea is that the ebony filler is gonna make the lines a lot deeper when it gets to the stain, so I can do 1 or 2 coats. I don't wanna make it black paint black, but I want it to be depth. And if it wasn't for me doing this for Joe Bob, I would be a lot more lazy with mine. I try to get more and more professional as I do them. The last one I just did a David Gilmour guitar replica. I used all Fender parts, great electronics. I made my own. I used a Warmoth Neck instead of the Fender just to make it for me, for my preference. But for this one, like I said, I stole all of the stats and the specifications of Joe Bob's Ibanez. So my goal and my hope is that it feels like that, but like even better, you know? So if I can get that done, and if eventually, if you're watching this, then I succeeded, Mr. Joe Bob. So hopefully, I don't know. I mean, I hope you're gonna love it, not just because it's a gift and it's made for you, but that it feels amazing. You know, I want it to be like that boutique guitar that you can like have and like just make everything sound amazing for you. So here we go. Keep going. All right. I used ebony grain filler, my So Many Roads cup. You fill this with water and powder. 1 water for every 2 powder, and then you brush the whole thing with the grain, liberally, then on this side, against the grain, the whole guitar, and you do the back. So it's nice and caked on there. We're gonna fill those grains. We're gonna it says you can let it dry for 5 to 10 minutes, then scrape it off. So I'm gonna wait 15 minutes, then scrape, and then in 1.5 hours instead of an hour, I will go ahead and sand it with a 320. So then the grain will be filled. And the whole idea of this, you can do it with any wood filler, but the whole idea is to fill the grain, so then when I apply the stain and the finish, it's nice and even. If you don't use filler, they say that it'll start looking like, it'll just take a lot of finish in order to make it a smooth professional feel. So this is going to protect that from happening. And then we'll continue. All right, my first leg. So put the grain filler on, right? And I waited what it told me to, but I'm reading directions again. If there were thicker areas, sorry, I can't talk. If there are areas that were thicker, just let them dry longer. So then it says apply a plastic scraper to get the excess off, and then wait an hour and sand. But I did the scraper, and it just seemed like some of it wasn't dry yet. So what I did was I took my paintbrush with water, and I took all the powder pieces you see here, and I applied them on the areas that I thought I screwed up on. Then I took a little paintbrush with water and I rebrushed everything. So I just want to make sure it soaks in there. It's water-based filler, so I think we'll be okay. It's supposed to be kind of caked on there. It said liberally, so I liberally did it. You can see a couple of runs, but that's just water and filler. It's going to be filled. All those pores are going to be filled. Oh, and Joe Bob, dude, I know all of these songs. It's wild. We've lived the same life in a lot of music worlds. So yeah. All right, so it's drying. I'm starting to scrape everything off, 45-degree angles. And then a couple hours, I'll sand it down again. So it'll be, so the wood grain was 320 grit, and it'll be filled with this dark ebony filler. It's so scary because you're like, oh my God, it looks like a mess. But this is how they do it. So I'm gonna have faith in the system. Mess. Yeah, mess. All right, this is a dry grain filler. I've not sanded it. I let it dry and I scraped it. And you can see the bumps. There's some bumps there. I'm gonna sand all that. The package of the grain filler said that you might have to do more than one coat depending, and I know swamp ash is very porous, so we'll see. I'm just gonna let it dry. I just wanna make sure it dries before I sand. So that's what I'm doing. All right, so I started to sand the grain filler. Blah, been a long day. And it is starting to look really cool. So, I mean, you can already have seen the lines before, but now, and I still have a lot more to do sanding wise, but now it's starting to be filled. So all of that kind of gray is the ebony filled with the swamp ash is filled with the ebony filler. So I still have to sand the sides here. You can see the difference. Really light sanding. This was a 320 grit. So I'm stoked. I'm really excited. Boom. So I'm really excited to see what this is going to look like. Sanding day 2. I was getting all of the wood filler off, and yeah, it's nice and gray. I'll show it to you here. So it's got some real nice, all of the wood grain there is getting filled, and there's this nice gray tint to the whole thing. But then there are certain dark spots that I think I just haven't gotten all the sand, the wood filler from the spot. So I just want to make it nice and even. I went ahead and I wet it just a little bit so I can see where the big dark spots are. Some of those I really like, but I want it to make it look natural, not splotchy. So I got a little bit of work ahead of me. How about sanding by hand? Let me tell you, it's a real deal. But like I said, it's a gift. I want it to be good. So I'm gonna go a little bit more, and then we'll go to the next stage, which I think is staining and then sealing. We'll see. This is Dillo's guitar. Hey, pretty pink, you stupid dink, ring around the rosy. I think that we might have something here. All right, sanded. Got my sealer on. I wiped it nice and clean. So you can see where the ebony is. Nice colors, there's some red in there. Some of it, you can see I could do another sanding sealer because there's still some lumps there, but the deep stuff is down there, which is awesome. Boom. So next I'm gonna condition it and then stain it. Condition so that way it doesn't get blotchy. Look at that guitar. Next, I'm happy with my job of filling the grain. This is swamp ash. There's more grain to fill, but I kind of want to see some of the actual color of some of this wood grain. Is kind of orangish, reddish looking. So I want to see some of that. Like there's just some beauty in there that I don't want to just fill. So I'm gonna stain now. I already did one coat of grain filler, so it will be better than what it was. Now I'm gonna apply a wood conditioner. This is debatable. I don't think it's necessary for everybody, but the idea is that it prevents splotchiness. So when you stain, some of the pores are gonna be deeper than others. So this pre-stain wood conditioner by Varathane will make it a little more even. So I'm gonna condition it, let it dry. I think that's what it said. Let it dry, or wait 30 minutes. And then I'm gonna stain it. Let's see. Allow the conditioner to penetrate for 30 minutes before staining. For best results, stain your project with Varathane as well, blah, blah, blah. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna do the stain conditioner, just if it looks different, I'll show you guys. And then I'm going with all Home Depot products because I get military discount, 10% off for life, boys. Well, at least until I'm in the military, which really helps when you buy like a fridge. That's like $300 off, you know? But anyway, this is a premium ebony wood stain with my ebony grain filler. Got the Beatles. Boom. So here goes nothing, bros. Oh man, it smells beautiful. So this is just a thin layer of sanding, pre-stainer. But you can really see, this is gonna be beautiful, dude. Jeez. So you wipe it on. You wanna get the excess off, which is why I saved this side. Get the excess off, and it's gonna be great. Holy crap, check this out. Stain, look at this. Boom. It is amazing looking. You can see the grain, you can see the depth. It looks very balanced. I mean, I probably chose the easiest color as far as being black. But I still wanted that wood, and that's exactly what I think we're gonna get. Holy shit! Ah! Look at that, it's just gorgeous. Yeah. Boom. For those of you who are interested, if you're actually still watching this video and you're not one of the Lazy Summer Home, Lazy Summer Home has a Spotify playlist of covers. It is called Lazy Summer Home, and it's all the different songs we've learned throughout the time, things we've added, our biggest influences. So, you know, check it out, make it, listen to it, make a guitar, make a bass. I'm just like, I don't know if I'm high on fumes or if I'm just happy that it's like amazing. Boom. So the interesting thing will be next after this project of the stain is how's it gonna look when it dried. I wiped it on, I laid it for 3 minutes. I wiped some off. I've noticed a couple of, I think, sanding marks, like if I sanded too hard, because it was all done by hand. So I'll think about that as it dries and see if they kind of pop out still. And then also, when I finish this up, when that's done, I'm gonna do a sanding sealer, which will help with the pores. And then I'll go through and I'll do a hand poly urethane finish. So it'll be interesting to see how it all pops out. But right now, so far, so good. I'm really glad I took 2 days, 3 days, I guess 3 days, at least 2 to 3 hours of sanding each of those days. So I can't say I sanded for 3 days. Well, I did, but it was only like 2 hours. Anyway, here we go. All right, boom, stained and sanded. I mean, I wanted this aged look. I wanted to remember Joe Bob's original guitar. It's been around for a long time. This has got to compete, right? But I actually waited a whole day before I went through the sanding process. But yeah, it's got little sections that kind of look worn, but really I just wanted to get into that wood grain. And I wanted it to be smooth, and it feels smooth. I mean, I'm pretty proud. I'm pretty proud of this one. Really, really good. I think I'm gonna wait another day after I do my first coat of my polyurethane, and we're gonna go from there. So check this out. Really, really stoked. He's gonna be so excited. One more look. All right, next, sanding sealer. I did one coat, waited an hour. Then I used an 800 grit, very light sand. Very light, like I was not pressing very hard at all. Then I put this second coat on. Second time around, it kind of like gelled or dried much quicker. That is what it's looking like so far. Then I'll wait it half an hour to an hour, because it's real dry here in Colorado. I will flip it, then I'll do the other side. I've been very careful about the sides. I pretty much have done them double because I did them 3/4 of the way down. Then when I flipped it, I did them 3/4 of the way down again. So we're getting there. Boom. All right, since my last video, I went and I did the coats that you're probably gonna hear me say 5 times on this video, but I got to the final part, which is adding the top coats. Went in, I think I did some video on that. Been doing the wipe on poly, easy application. It comes on thick, so the first coat I did went really well, and I just let it alone, because you start to see things in the changes of the absorption. It starts to level out from your wipe, and then if there's a crevice, it'll go into the crevice, which it should, but you might see that as like, oh, there's a dent there, or there's not enough. And the common mistake is to add more, and that's not what you do. So I did a really good first coat. Then the next day, as I did the second coat, I sanded it with 800 grit sandpaper, did the second coat. I started to see those imperfections, and I was like, oh crap, so I added more. And I think I kind of screwed that up. I stopped myself, because this is my third finishing project, but I'm really trying to be careful with this one. So I stopped. I waited a day just to like calm myself down, really just patience. I made sure if I saw any kind of bump or run that I sanded that area. Tried not to take the finish out or any of that. And I'm gonna show you the result so far. Here we go. Boom. Hopefully you can see, I mean, with the reflection of the sun there, or the sunset, really smooth. I just did a sanding top, so you might see some white. There was a little reflection there I wanted to take care of. It was dry, but I could see that there was 2 layers, so I tried to smooth that out. Also, the big thing is adding mineral oil to this. It thins it out, and really you get to wipe it on and feel confident that you're doing the whole guitar really even. So I'm about to do that. This is going to be the 3rd coat. I just want to make sure that it's protected. I would really like to get some of that grain. It's beautiful. So if the next coat looks perfect, I might not do another coat, but I want to protect the guitar because it'll be on stage. So yeah, I'm just stoked. I really love kind of the aged look. So as there does become bangs on this thing, it's not really going to be too bad. It's going to be a beautiful guitar. After that, I'm thinking to do the electronics first, and then I'll do the neck, rather have the neck get in the way of doing the electronics. I have everything I need. I do need a jack plate. I forgot the stupid jack plate. Of course I did. Looking at it now, I think I can go with the square. I think a square will look better. And so we'll get to there. So I'm gonna do another couple coats, most likely. We'll see what happens. I'll talk to you later. This segment is brought to you by Fish playing guitar on July 16th, 2023, which was yesterday. Here's where we are. I'm really excited to show you this. Let me turn this around. Boom. Finish is done. Matte finish, not very shiny. You can see there's a little bit of stuff here, but we're gonna cover that, so I'm not worried about it. But the guitar, look at that, it's beautiful. I started to install this little guy. There's a screw spot, but it was a nice tight fit. It's not going anywhere, so I'm not gonna screw it in and mess with the wood. This is gonna go over here and be connected. We are using EMG pickups. Boom, this is what a lot of really great guys use this. I'm not even showing you. No, sorry. A lot of really important musicians use this. Les Claypool is one of them. Joe Bob can tell you the list. I'm a guitar player, I can't tell you. But the cool part about this is by ordering the EMG pickup here, the DC40, I received all the electronics, all the tone pots needed, including the jack, needed to take care of this. And I, instead of using Sweetwater or a reverb, which I do a lot, I went direct to the company, asked them a few questions, make sure to fit in the Warmoth version that I got. Pretty self-explanatory. It was EMGs. Warmoth had an EMG pickup option. That's what I picked. Humbucker. So I went there. I think I don't know if I got the best deal. I think I got the best deal. It was probably a couple dollars cheaper than Sweetwater, or it was the same, but I had to wait because they had to go direct to them. They said they don't have them in-house. They just have a good relationship with them. So I went through them myself, and they came right away, answered my questions, and I asked for some more stickers because I'm a stickers guy, and I got some extra. Let's see, I think I might put one on my piano and see if Joe Bob notices. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and put the pickups in. To give you an idea, instead of soldering, they have a complete solderless system with these little guys just clamp on. We'll see how I feel about that. Some people are true about soldering. I've always been the solder guy, but this top of the line stuff, pickup wise, I'm gonna go with what they suggest, so that's what I'm doing. We'll see how it goes. Enjoy myself. This is for the t-shirt guy. Finish is done. And I've already begun the fun part. Not as tedious as putting on the finish. But that is the guitar. Nice matte finish. Really nice wood grain. Got that aged look. It's almost like a replica Joe Bob bass. Like his Ibanez. Similar color almost. It's a little more gray than I thought. I got an ebony finish on that, but it makes sense because it's underneath a very light colored swamp ash. So before I put these in, it's all solderless. So I'm looking at the directions. I'm gonna be plugging that sucker in with a solderless system per EMG. They actually gave me everything I need in order to set this up. Everything's included, it's amazing. And a really good diagram, so I'm gonna go for that right now. Step one, according to instructions, was to put in I'm doing 2 volume and 1 tone. Volume for each pickup, a master tone. So I'm starting there. So, just in case my camera shot was terrible, the idea is that you also shield this piece. So the contact on here, touching the contact of this area, is going to fully protect it from radio frequencies and interference. That is all. Oh, all right. Pickups are installed. It was scary because I finally had the drill into the guitar on my own. There weren't mounts for it. And then put these guys in. Kind of a pain in the butt. This is there with a little screw to tighten them on versus the standard kind of squeeze on. I think they're nice and quick. There's a little pull on this one. I might mess with it later. And then, now it's all plug and play. Plug everything in the right way. It should be fine. So let's see how it goes. All right. It looks messy, but it's very clean. One of the cleanest jobs I've ever done. I did have a short cable here, so I had to go ahead and splice two to get the length I needed. But then, second problem is the hole here. Of course, going from the inside, it won't. It's just too big. The diameter where you see those yellow pieces is a little too thick for this hole. So I'm gonna have to make that hole a little bit bigger. Other than that, we're fine. All right, it's funny because it feels like it's been, I don't know, weeks since I've done one of these videos. However, life happens. The cool part is Lazy Summer Home, the band, has been invited to play the Sunnyside Music Festival. I'm quiet because it's 6 in the morning. I'm gonna go see a concert this evening in Dillon, Colorado. I'm running out of time. I went to visit family in Philly. Anyway, that's my life. Bottom line is, most of this is done. I'm gonna show you what I did in just a minute. We're gonna listen to the sound of silence. It's 6 in the morning. I put this cover on. I showed the electronics already. I'm just protecting them while I'm waiting. This hole is just a hair too small, which I think I discussed. So in the meantime, I went ahead and put on some locking nuts. Pretty cool. The thing about this hand poly, I could have done many more sandings, but see that little line, that little scratch? It's from the first time before I was deciding to drill a hole in that spot. I slipped a little. So there's gonna be bumps, there's gonna be tears. It is now baptized as one of my guitars because I loved it somewhere. I'm gonna put the neck on. Last thing I need to do after I make that hole bigger is drew the screws here for this piece. I like the recess. It's very loose, so I'm gonna do one. I'll screw it in. I'll do another, screw it in. Do the third, screw it in. That way I don't mess up the sizes. But man, I am very excited about this. And Joe Bob needs a case, so we went ahead and took care of that too. All right. The years do keep sliding by. At least minute by minute, it feels that way for me. I've done the electronics. I got a Dremel to bore out that hole a little bigger. I really like the black here. Remember I did these already. It looks really beautiful job. These things suck. For this one, I actually used my Dremel to pop this sucker out. Oh, excuse me. Use the Dremel to pop this sucker out. And you can see I had to bore it out in order for the EMG wiring for the 9-volt to fit in there. So that kind of sucks. I'll probably look for a better one, but I want Joe Bob to have this bass before we start playing some more summer shows. So this works. It feels great. You kind of have to pop it out in order to take care of it. Check this out. So you have to take the sucker off. You can see my Dremel work on this product. I had to bore all that out because I wanted to use the EMG wiring. So you have to pull this out, take this off, and then you can change the battery. So that pops up like so after it's off, and you pop off the battery. But we're so close, it's gonna sound like a bass soon. Really looking forward to it. So, went ahead, create a solo box to try to block out any other interference, radio signals, etc. A lot of guys working on guitars do this stuff. So I'm sure the same thing applies to electronics and bass. So I'm just trying to protect it with a shield of copper. All right, this is wild. Boom, check it out. Well, Joe Bob, I'm gonna be the first person to play this little bass here. Wiring was crazy because if you didn't follow the schematic exactly, it wasn't gonna work. And I had trouble right here. The big thing was that these had to be exactly in each of those positions because I had them in not the correct order, and the volumes were a tone knob, and the tone was a tone. It was like a tone was a tone knob, and you can hear the connection going through the amp the whole time without. It was crazy. I could make it a little. It sounded terrible, but troubleshooting, I just went ahead and I re-schematiced everything. I was really careful with the bridge and the neck pickup, so I didn't take those off. But here, making sure that this bridge pickup was in the center, that the connection was in this spot, and you're looking at it upside down. So, but then I did all of those, and I still was getting a weird tone. But the fact that these were in the correct order now, I'm pretty excited. Check it out. So this is just the neck pickup. Neck. Then there's a bridge pickup volume. So it works. This is the tone on the bridge. This is both of them maxed out. I'm also playing out of my guitar amp. Probably not the best thing, but it works. Also, when you decide to place your action how you like, the hip shot, I'm gonna give you all these parts, all these extra parts. You can raise each string or lower each string with these. So when I first put the strings on, a lot of them were too close to the bridge, so I just raised them up. So the action is kind of, I think it's banging actually. It's kind of how I like it. If I were a bass player, you have to press down, but you don't have to fight it. It's gonna be powerful. Oh, there it is. It's done. All right. My first bass. The Joe Bob signature. Volume, master tone. So, this is a guitar amp. Great, listen to that. I don't hear any buzz. Here's the bridge pickup.
I'm in love.
Nice.
Like I'm gonna go to bed with this tonight.
Not only does it look nice, but